Hello, everyone. We are a couple of minutes late, which you guys know I hate, but it's my fault. I've just not been feeling well today, so I'm dragging, and I apologize. Uh, for that reason, I have thrown everything into Kay's lap tonight. Um, so I will do less talking, and I will be working on trying to share screens and such. And there will be talk amongst the panel about what's going to happen, and we'll just kind of go from there. So I want to welcome everybody on the panel: Inexplicable Susan, Katie Did It, I Don't Recall, and Jack from Foul Play. And I want to welcome everybody in both chats. I can see my chat. I haven't looked at Foul Play's chat, but I will welcome Augie's 1956 and I Don't Recall and Inexplicable Susan to my chat. And Jack, if you want to read who's in the chat in Foul Play, that would be great. If you want.
Well, right now it looks like it's this. Is this me?
Okay.
All I can see is just me right now.
Okay, perfect. That's cool.
There's several joining. I can see the number moving, but
okay.
They've not said anything. They've not said anything yet.
All right, that's cool. That's just fine. So I'm going to kind of let Kay explain. We're still going to read transcripts. We're still going to go through the case that way, but I'm going to let Kay kind of explain what we're going to do, at least for tonight for sure, and then how we're going to try to make this work going forward as well. So Kay, if you would like to take the wheel.
Absolutely. Hello, everyone. So yes, we're rolling uphill still. That's the way we roll. We are going to present this case. So Rhonda's been through this entire case already, from the perspective of the prosecution, from using their timeline. So we thought it would be interesting to present the case and enlighten people as to how it was manufactured. And so we're gonna go through the timeline of how the chain of events of how things happened. We're gonna add in just our speculation about what we think happened and point out which players keep showing up. And just roll through it that way. And as far as transcripts go, I mean, transcripts will be mixed in a little bit if we do it that way. And I think we plan to talk about this after the show, but we may want to do another series that's just the reading of the transcripts and that separates it from this series, which is yet to be named. Anyway.
Well, Kay, you had a really good idea for a name. I'm really sorry. I'm so unorganized today, but the name that you suggested I thought was great. So you might as well introduce that name now.
What was it? I forgot.
Look,
it was just the first thing I thought of.
It was really good. I liked it. Let me go back and find it. It was interesting. It was
It was vanilla.
Inside the wrongful conviction of Daniel Holtzclaw, and I think that's really good. I mean,
so this will be episode 1.
Episode 1.
All
and
right.
I'm going to have to start numbering my episodes now, like Open Mic does.
You will.
So,
keep them organized that way.
yeah.
Should we jump right in?
Let's jump right in. Tell me what you wanted me to do first again, please.
So I have just a couple paragraphs of an introduction, and then we'll play the 911 call after that. So this case is obviously about Daniel Holtzclaw, who was an Oklahoma City police officer of Japanese American heritage who was railroaded by the police detectives. He was wrongfully convicted in December of 2015 of sexually assaulting 8 out of 13 Black complainants. And then he was sentenced to 263 years in prison due to a myriad of reasons: presumption of guilt, inflammatory media coverage, flawed forensic DNA analysis, a biased and faulty police investigation, ineffective trial counsel, and prosecutorial misconduct. And, the tragedy of Daniel's case is that our society's noblest goals to address racism, sexism, and police brutality caused people to convict an innocent man, believing Daniel to be guilty after all these allegations, which were filled with contradictions and unsupported by a negative SANE kit test. Biased Oklahoma City Police Department investigators ignored evidence of his innocence and crafted a case to match their false narrative. They encouraged, solicited, and procured additional wrongful allegations and pinned them on him. I think Kim Davis said it best in her interview with Michelle Malkin. We don't always get things done when we have one accuser, but when you have 13 and their MO's the same and their verbiage is the same, then you can get things done. And so that's what they did to him. They took his own police records and used them against him, and they created a situation which is one of the hardest to prove, is when you take a true series of events and you insert a lie in the middle of those true events. And that's what they did to him in every single case. So this series will walk through a timeline of the events in this case. And we're going to start with the 911 call that Terry Morris and Christopher Shelton were involved in. Terry Morris Daniel was acquitted of all of her charges, but they needed Terry Morris to make this case fly. If not for her, this case wouldn't have happened, because Jannie Ligons, the first one to report, there was just, like I said earlier, the SANE test, and like Dr. Silkman said in his analysis of the DNA, the SANE test didn't have any of Daniel Holtzclaw's DNA in her mouth, around her mouth. It came back negative. It was exculpatory. There was no way. So they had to hook Terry Morris in. They had to go back. Her allegations are going to occur, and she doesn't necessarily say it was Daniel Holtzclaw at all. As a matter of fact, you'll see as we present this that many of the things that she said were exculpatory for Daniel. But they circled back and picked her up because it was a recent event. And I guess it was just the first thing they could think of. So here's the 911 call of Christopher Shelton, Terry Morris's recently former boyfriend, calling for help because she's upset that he has another girlfriend and she's tearing up his car.
Oops. All right. I'm getting there. Hopefully it's up on the screen. And here we go.
After Daniel Holtzclaw was relieved of duty and sent home to await his fate, Detective Rocky Gregory began to fill in Detective Davis on the Terry Morris allegations. You'll recall Detective Gregory questioned Holtzclaw about the contact he may have had with Morris and how she was, in Detective Gregory's opinion, making the same allegations as Ligons. The case in the Terry Morris
but she wouldn't get out.
Morning 911 call on May 24th, 2014. The call was placed by 61-year-old Oklahoma City resident Christopher Shelton, a recent and former boyfriend of 43-year-old accuser Terry.
Oklahoma City 911, what's your emergency? Hello? Hello? Hello?
I feel like a motherfucker and rip my heart out and try to put it back inside. I feel like
Hello?
Can you
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Where are you?
I'm on 23rd and Kelly.
Okay, you're at a house or you're at the intersection?
I'm at the Valero on 23rd and Kelly.
What's going on there, sir?
I see a friend of mine. She was walking down Kelly's side, falling in the street, so I gave her a ride. I was going to take her home to her grandmama's house, but she wouldn't get out. So she told me to take her on 23rd. And I've been trying to get her out for the last 30 minutes, and now she's saying,
Okay, are you in the Valero?
pardon?
You in at the Valero, is that right?
Yes, sir.
What kind of car are you in, sir?
I'm in a 1992 Acura Legend.
What color?
It is tan. She's tearing the inside of my car up. She's drunk.
What's your name, sir?
My name's Christopher Shelton. Christopher Shelton. Yeah, she's yanking stuff out of my car.
What's her name, sir?
Her name's Terry Lynn Morris.
She white, black, Hispanic, or Indian?
She's black.
How old is she?
She's tearing my car up.
I understand.
She's 43.
Okay, she's still in the car?
Well, she finally got out, man. She's throwing stuff at me. Police. I told you I was there. Why was you been getting up? She's hitting on me and everything.
She drunk or on drugs?
Oh, my purse.
Christopher, is she drunk or on drugs?
There's something wrong with her. I just want somebody to come get her. I don't hear women or anything.
What color shirt and pants you wearing?
She got a black dress on.
Look like she needs
I was trying to help her with that. Yeah, she's throwing my darn CDs out.
Yes, sir. Look like she, or does she have any weapons?
No, she just throwing my darn car up.
The officer's already driving to you.
Yeah.
Look like she need an ambulance.
She just throwing my stereo apart.
Are you trying to help me?
They're on their way here, Terry. You done tore up my darn.
So you done call the people, the same motherfuckers that raped me. I don't know the police.
Could you hurry up here, sir?
Sir, I'm not driving. The officer's
Yeah, when
driving.
they
Okay?
do call, because let me he described the police to rape me the other night.
Yeah, you should see them very close, very soon.
I should just tore my radio out.
Because, yeah, he told my friend.
Let me know when you see the officer.
Oh, yeah, she's trying. I'm shutting the door. She's up here tearing my stuff up. I mean,
Do you see the officer?
here he is. Do I need to stay on the phone?
Did the officer find you?
Yeah, here they are.
All right, talk to them, okay?
Yes. All right, thank you.
That night,
Okay. Hopefully that showed
So,
okay.
yeah. So this happened on May 24th. Is that right, Cherie?
It was May
Yeah.
24th.
On May 24th, and that was a holiday weekend. And so, unlike when Jannie Ligons made her allegations and a whole flurry of activity happened, I don't know if it was because this was basically a domestic and police might have recognized it for her maybe just trying to get out of trouble by saying that, because she was probably going to jail that night. More than likely, she would have been going to jail. But she walked away from there. So a bunch of people responded, and immediately the call turned into a report where she's the victim. Christopher Shelton, there's no mention in a police report about everything that he alleges in that 911 call. It instantly turns into her being interviewed about this police officer who raped her, as she says, but as things go forward, it ends up being not rape, but sexual assault allegation nonetheless. And she's interviewed by 3 or 4 people at the scene that night. They all write police reports. She tells the same story over and over. She says that she was assaulted on either the 20th or 21st, so just a few days prior to the 911 call, and that it was near the city rescue mission. The police officer was driving the older model Crown Victoria car, which is not Daniel's car. He had been driving the new car for about a year and a half. Things just aren't pointing to Daniel Holtzclaw on this. So they put this on Rocky Gregory's desk when he gets in on Tuesday. He has a whole list of actions that he supposedly took. Rhonda, do you have his police report from Terry Morris's OCR that we can look at? As you look through the police reports in this case, you'll never see another one like this. Especially from him, from Rocky Gregory. I feel like this is a manufactured report because he goes into detail about all of these different steps that he took, as you see. Does someone want to read through this? Anyone on the panel?
Anybody? Susan,
Anybody?
you want to read some of
Yeah.
these? Okay.
Sure. I'll read it.
All right, just start with attempt to locate Terry Lynn Morris.
The first step of the investigation was to re-interview Terry. As soon as I was assigned this case, I began to try to locate her. The following were the steps taken to try to find her. 5/27/14 at 10:44 hours, I called her listed phone number of 505-4960, unavailable, not a good number. On 5/27, that's in the next minute at 10:45 hours, I called IP Shelton at 532-8118. I left a message for Shelton to call me back. On 5/27/14 at 10:56, just 11 minutes later, I called the last Varuna number for Terry of 427-7093. This number was the number for the majority of the contact numbers for Terry listed in records. I spoke with Alma King, who is Terry's grandmother, who lives at 812 East Hill Street. This is the address that Terry consistently uses for records. Alma advised she has not seen Terry in a month. She's had no information for Terry. Alma had no idea where Terry was at. I left my name and number for her to give to Terry when she sees her. Just a couple minutes later, I called the second listed number in Varuna records for Terry. This number is not in service. A minute later, I contacted the city rescue mission. I left a message for them to call me back. I also gave the initial needed information. 5 minutes later, I called the Salvation Army and left my contact information and reason for calling. 1 minute later, I interviewed Chris Shelton. See supplemental. Half hour later, I spoke with Kurt Davis with the Jesus House. He advised that Terry was not there over the weekend looking in records. She is not listed in any program they have. Information was given in case she showed up for contact with me. And then just 9 minutes later, I contacted the Homeless Alliance Day Shelter. I spoke with Catherine, who advised Terry has not been there. Contact information given. 4 minutes later, I spoke with Ratanya at the City Rescue Mission. They've not seen her, but a message was left for contact. Good Lord. And then just 15 minutes later or so, I called Terry's listed number again. This number just advises unavailable. Let's see, at 5/27/14 at 12:31 hours, I spoke with Linda Edwards at the Salvation Army. They had no Terry Morris in records, and she's not been there. Contact information left. At 5/27 at 1700 hours, 5 p.m., I went to the OKC City Rescue Mission. They called and advised they would not release information until I came in person. I went to the mission and made contact. They had my information in case she did show up. The last time she was there was 5/20/14. She had not stayed there since.
And let me just interrupt real quickly. So 5:20 is, she said that she was assaulted on either 5:20 or 5:21. So that lines up that she was indeed coming and going from the City Rescue Mission. She stayed there on the 20th. So it must have been.
And it was very, very near there, correct? That she was assaulted?
As she said to everyone that interviewed her, right up until the time that she was in the county jail and in a bind, and changed her story completely. Yeah.
Yeah, that would have lined up with her 2 or 3 days or 3 or 4 days earlier comment that she made that she had been raped 3 or 4 days earlier. The 20th would have lined up with that.
Yeah. We can continue on. The EJ, what is that? What I interrupted you on. That is, they were checking to see if she was in the Oklahoma County jail, is what that is.
And also just and I think the point Kay was trying to make before is why it looks manufactured is because and Susan did a great job of saying how many minutes later, like
Yes.
just boom, 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 all
Yeah.
in one day. Like,
Yeah.
right.
Unreal.
Yeah, it was crazy.
He was
Okay.
desperate, wasn't he?
Yeah, something like that.
Can you put that back on the screen, Rhonda?
Yeah. There we go.
Where are we?
And then this was the next day, started the next day.
So, yeah, 5:28.
You want to keep going, Susan?
Sure.
Okay.
On May 28th at 10:15 in the morning, I spoke with LaShaw Randall, the assistant manager at Sooner Haven. They did not know a Terry Morris. 3 minutes later, I contacted OSHA, head of security, Dan Flanagan, OSCHA, Oklahoma something. I advised him who I was looking for, and he would begin a search of information. Dan contacted me back, and we went through the information together. Dan advised that he had no initial information of her living at any OSCHA property. Dan looked in the last year through OSHA index files of people that were banned. There were 8 to 10 reports in all, and none had Terry Morris listed. No contacted listed otherwise between OSHA officers and Terry. We then began to go through known associates of Terry: Joel Parker, Gaylord Gifford, maybe, Kenneth Smith, Garcet M. King, and others listed in Varuna contacts. These listed had all since moved out or never lived at the OSHA property. Looking through known associates of Terry and making contact with those that I was able to speak with, had no idea where she was or how to reach her. Gangs contacted by Lieutenant Munsey for help searching for Terry Morris. Jesus. Detective Tony Foreman with the gang's overtime program for this date was also notified and advised. Detective Foreman was to contact me if she was found. May 29th, 14, spent time involved with case, involved with various DA offices. Contacts were made during time down for Terry.
What does that even mean? Anyway, I have no
What
idea.
does that mean?
Blah, blah. I did a bunch of stuff. Oh, blah, blah, blah. I hate him.
Okay, on May 30th, I spoke with Sergeant Todd Deaton in person. Sergeant Deaton has the paddy wagon van for the downtown transients and drunks. He was advised who I was trying to look for. He would contact me if he came into contact with her. Detox was notified of who I was looking for and return information. May 30th, I contacted 4 Northeast 10th Alcohol Drug Rehab. Jesus Christ. No information on Terry known. This is just unreal.
Yeah, because it is unreal.
Yeah. On May 30th at 10:10 hours, I contacted Valier Rehab Hospital. The last time they had her there was in June last year. Same day, minute later, I contacted the Department Rehab Service. I was placed into contact with the Attorney General's office. Message left with service. On 5:30, Lieutenant Munsey contacted Lieutenant Kimberlin in Vice to assist in finding the victim. At 15:45 hours, Lieutenant Munsey and I began a search of various areas thought to be involved with Terry Morris. 13:45 hours, this is prior.
That's vague. Wasn't that vague? Various areas. Like, what do you mean? Where did you search? That's worthless.
It is. 13:45, 1:45, we went to 709 Northeast 24th and did a walkthrough of Liberty Square. We spoke with Greg in maintenance, who did not know her. One subject advised he hadn't seen her, but her nickname is TT, as it was in Varuna. We went to a Mrs. Shirley in apartment B. She was supposed to know her. Miss Shirley said she didn't know her. 13:52. Just 7 minutes later, we went to the Honda Sock at Northeast 27th and Kelly. They did not know her. The last picture in DOC was shown. This was the latest picture we had, but it later turned out to not be current at all until we received a picture from the day shelter. 4 minutes later, we went to Heritage Point. No one knew her. Jones at the front office didn't know her. Just 4 minutes later, we went to the Valero at Northeast 23rd and Kelly, where the report was originally taken. They did not know her. 13 minutes later, we went to Sooner Haven. In showing the front office the picture, they were not aware of her at all. I got with Detective Brad Harper with Criminal Intel, who was also working with Gang Overtime Program. Pictures were given and needed information to find her. Detective Harper contacted me and advised they had went to 6 or 7 places and had no luck in finding her. The next day on 5/31, Detective Harper contacted me and asked if an informant could be of use. I advised it would be very helpful. Detective Harper contacted me back and advised that the informant thought she may stay at Northeast 13th and Lottie at the McGuire Apartments. Also seen off and on at the bus stop at Northeast 23rd and MLK. This information was passed along. On June 2nd of 14 at 10:48 hours, I spoke with Alma King again at her residence at 812 East Hill Street. Alma said she hadn't seen her granddaughter since Mother's Day weekend. Terry gave her $100 to stay the day before and then wanted $50 back. Terry took Alma's purse to the front yard. Alma pursued and Terry pushed her down. Terry left and she hasn't seen her since. She uses money for crack. I gave Alma my name and number on paper again so she would call me if she found her. God dang. On June 2nd at 15:50 hours, 3:50 in the afternoon, this photo was shown to Todd Woodard, assistant manager at McGuire Apartments. He had not seen her around at all. I then went to the Schultz Apartments that are across from McGuire but are related. I spoke with Brian Mogave, who is the head manager. I provided a copy of a picture of her to him. He did not know her, but took my name and number if he came into contact with her. The next day, June 3rd, at 9:45 a.m., Lieutenant Munsey and I went to Love Link Ministries at 1122 Linwood and spoke with David Clergen, who helped run the thrift store and homeless ministry. He knew of her, saying she had been around, but not recently. Same day, we went to OKC Restoration Ministry, and they did not know her by showing a picture. Then we went to Detox. Shamila White had been working on some records for me, but had not got back. We showed the picture to her and other employees. They did not know her. Going back from May 6th to June 3rd, Terry had not been in Detox. On June 3rd, at 10 o'clock, we went to the Jesus house, or Jesus, whatever. We spoke with Melissa Johnson, head manager. She did not know her at all. She looked through her records consisting of programs and attendance. Nothing with her name. There is not an oversight for women. There is not an overnight for women. Melissa looked at all applications since January of 2014. She had not applied for anything. Melissa advised that the ARC and Grace just handle men, as a note. On June 3rd, I met with Detective Harper's informant, Cal, and showed him a picture of Terry. He advised he had a good idea of where to find her around. He would call me if he had a lead or information. On June 3rd at 10:35, we went to the day shelter to show the picture. The front office ladies, including a Sonrisa, knew Terry, but she had not been there. I showed the most recent picture we had of Terry, and Sonrisa said that was not what she looks like. Sonrisa pulled up their picture. She advised Terry has a shaved head and she knows her. Sonrisa advised she went to prison with Terry. Terry looked better in prison, but now she is drawn down. Sonrisa said last Thursday she seen her at Pastor Glenn's house off of Main Street around the corner. She tried to give us directions. It is a pantry and ministry for the homeless on Thursdays. Sonrisa checked day shelter records, and Terry has not been there in some time. June 3rd, we went to 1414 Northwest 2nd. After speaking to various people in the neighborhood, they confirmed this was the address for Pastor Glenn's ministry. I went to the door, but no one was home. Lieutenant Munsey went that afternoon, and no one was home. While working gang overtime, I went to 1715. I went at 5:15 to this residence, and again, no one was home. I was contacted by Cal, the informant of Detective Harper. He said he had found her at Northeast 26 in Kelly off Urban Meyer. He made an anonymous call to police, and the police had her in custody. I had been in the county jail on an unrelated arrest when I received this call. I was then able to go speak with Terry. See supplemental interview with Terry Morris. See first, second, and third detective contacts with Terry under supplementals. Good Lord.
Yeah, so he mentions he was in the county jail on another matter, and he says, I was then able to go speak with Terry. So what he's trying to say is that he had Cal haul her ass into the county jail so he could question her. And so when we roll around to actually covering her case again, you'll see that, and I guess, I mean, since this is June 3rd when she gets interviewed the first time. Cherie, correct me, or Rhonda, she does sign the decline to prosecute form
on June 3rd.
On June 3rd, that very first interview. She's very distraught. She doesn't want to be there. She's, Gregory's just basically bullying her and making her feel like it's her fault if a bunch of other people get raped because she won't just
he badgered her. He badgered the hell out of her.
Case. Yeah. And this is before this is before Jannie Ligons. So this is 6/3, and the after hours traffic stop happens on 6/18. So she signs the decline to prosecute. Here's a few things. If we were able to use Rocky Gregory's cell phone records like they used Alex Murdaugh's cell phone records to place him where he was, I bet he wasn't at all these places at all these times. I mean, some of those times, it's 3 minutes later and he's 4 blocks away.
Yeah.
I mean, he's showing up at these places with his timeline. Like they're not doing anything else, just waiting on him to walk in there and ask questions. He never has time. There's never time in his timeline to have to wait for anything. They're looking up all these records, but yet he's down the block at his next thing in 4 minutes. Give me a break.
Okay, so your thought is that none of this actually ever happened?
I think he manufactured this report after the fact, and I think if we could see edit logs, I know it shows that he filed this report. I think it says on 6/6, if I'm not mistaken. But just like he filed another report on Terry Morris on like the morning before. So Daniel has the after hours traffic stop with Jannie Ligons. He goes home and sleeps. Rocky Gregory comes in the next morning and just coincidentally files the Terry Morris police report from the 3rd, I think.
Right.
His interview on the 3rd. Which, it just all stinks to high heaven to me that happened like that.
And another thing too is it just seems, and I'm not saying that it shouldn't be done this way, but it just seems they went to such extreme lengths, according to his report, to find this woman who claims she was raped by a Oklahoma City police officer. One place that they go to, allegedly, claims that she was there on the 20th, which would have lined up with her accusation. But secondly, it's just weird to me that he's taking his lieutenant with him on these random drives around Oklahoma City looking for her, because it doesn't seem to me, and maybe you guys or somebody in chat has a better understanding, but it doesn't seem to me like that's something that a lieutenant would be doing, is driving around with one of the detectives trying to make contact with a single individual. And after 3 days, 3 or 4 days of allegedly actively searching for her, they can't find her anywhere, and they just keep on going and keep on going. And it's just kind of weird.
Was that like 2 weeks in all looking for her? Was that like the 20th to the 3rd or whatever?
The 24th is when she made the allegation, but that was so this is the holiday weekend. So whatever that Tuesday falls on.
I think it was the 27th.
Okay. I was thinking the 20th. So it wasn't as long as I thought.
Yeah, she said the assault happened the 20th or 21st, and she was told several police officers that story. She never changed her story. It makes me think that she may have been sexually assaulted exactly where she said she was. But at the same time, she could have been making up that story to get out of trouble. But she so consistently told it over and over and over again. And so she signs the decline to prosecute form on June 3rd, and they give her a ride back to that address where they found her, is basically, I believe it's basically Liberty Station Apartments.
Right.
And they do look back, and they see, if there are any police officers who had contact with her. And Daniel Holtzclaw, Rhonda, you want to pull up this radio traffic for May 8th? So on May 8th, Daniel Holtzclaw was the last police officer to have contact with her, but it wasn't near the city rescue mission. It wasn't on May 20th or 21st. It was on May 8th, and he calls her in.
Yes.
Which is not.
Hold on a sec. I'm not always sure if this is going to play correctly, so we'll see.
Okay.
If I can make it work. Sorry. Okay. Okay, listen closely.
Zebra 1, your subject is clear, sir.
Yeah, boy.
2 Charlie 45, go ahead.
Want to run over CLF and is Morris, Mary, Ocean, Robert, Ida, Sam. First name is Terry, Tom, Edward, Robert, Ida. Date with the 7/5 of 63, black female. Correction on Terry Morris. Her date of birth is 8/30 of 70, black female.
2 Charlie 45, you said her date of birth was 8/30 of 70.
Yeah, it's going to be 8/3 of 70, black female. Two Adam 147, standing by 300.
Two out of 147, stand by, you'll be next. 2 Charlie 45, your subject is clear.
Thank you.
And so
1014, Adam 147, go ahead.
Yes, ma'am. We need one all the way, no SDL. Last name is Troy. Tom Rob.
I think that's it. That's just the traffic around before and after his radio traffic.
Right.
So here we are on May 8th. Daniel is, as she's walking, he stopped her. She just came out of that report that Gregory said he talked to Shirley at Liberty Station Apartments, who said she didn't know her. Well, Terry says that that's her Aunt Shirley, but Daniel says that that apartment is the crack supplier. So obviously Shirley's not going to know her. And I guess calling someone your aunt is a reason that you would be hanging out at that apartment. So May 8th is not May 20th or 21st. And so the next thing they do is they look at at the AVLs for any officers that would be around the city rescue mission where Terry's first story, her 20th or 21st story. They're looking for someone whose AVL on their car stops in that area. There is no one. Daniel did, I believe, happen to be taking someone to jail. And so he did, on one of those days, he did drive by there, but he never slowed down, and he had someone in his car that he was transporting to jail. There were no other officers. As you would imagine, if someone's going to rape someone, I don't think they're going to call that subject in. They're probably not going to have their computer on to be tracked. I wouldn't think, but what do I know? The other person is that stopped her was Jeff Sellers. If you want to pull up the factoid, Rhonda, on Jeff Sellers, didn't know this at the time about Jeff Sellers, but he likes to hook up with prostitutes. And so he got in a little trouble for that. Didn't lose his job. Through arbitration, he got his job back, and he didn't face any criminal charges. But here's a guy that maybe they should have looked at. I'm not for saying, hey, this is the guy who did it, because I think that you need to follow facts in search of the truth instead of just finding someone else to blame it on. But they didn't look at him. And you'll hear later on that when they do a photo lineup for Terry later on, they don't even bother to put Jeff Sellers' photograph in the photo lineup. And so here we are. here we are. Daniel's cleared. Jeff Sellers is cleared. Terry Morris signs a decline to prosecute. She goes on her way. Fast forward to June 18th. Jannie Ligons. Daniel clocks out that night. He's on his way home, and as was proved at trial, on his way home, he always shut down his computer on the way home. He kind of had a routine of doing it. He had already shut off his computer. He sees her swerve, and he makes the decision to pull her over. It doesn't have any audio with it, but it has some subtitles and overlays, and it is the traffic stop video with overlays that help you identify what's going on in the grainy surveillance footage from the Surety Life building, which is the only footage that exists. If you want to pull that up, Rhonda.
Yeah, I gotta see where I saved it at.
So, Kate, they didn't have traffic cameras at that time, I take it?
No.
I'm not sure that they have traffic cameras now, but no. To my knowledge, they didn't.
That's a shame.
And for people who don't know about this case and who have watched 2020, who named their episode What the Dash Cam Didn't See.
Yeah.
The dash cam didn't see anything because there were no dash cams. There were no body cams in 2014 in the Oklahoma City Police Department. If there had been, Daniel would not be in prison right now.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, remind me what I'm looking for. I'm so sorry.
Ligons car stop with titles,
Okay.
draft.mp4.
I'm going to have to...
If you want to come back to the outline and grab it, I don't know.
Yeah, I might have to come back to the outline. I'm not sure. I know I downloaded it, but I don't know where it's saved. So Let me just grab it again real quick.
Just kind of a summary of Jannie Ligons while she's looking for that is it's an allegation against Daniel after a traffic stop sparked the investigation despite major inconsistencies in Ligons' story. Jannie Ligons made an allegation of oral sodomy after Daniel stopped her vehicle for swerving on June 18, 2014 at 2 a.m. He searched her car for drugs and alcohol, verified that she appeared safe to drive, and then he let her go with a verbal warning and told her that she needed to take care of her suspended driver's license. The lead detective believed that the lead detective, Kim Davis, she believed Ligons even before she interviewed Daniel. She said that a couple of times in interviews. Daniel acknowledged stopping her, but he denied any sexual conduct with her. But still, detectives believed Ligons, despite all the glaring contradictions in the allegation that truly should have raised concern that her perception and her allegation was incorrect. For example, she described Daniel as having blonde hair, parted on the right side, skin that was not smooth. He was 5'7" to 5'9", and between 35 and 45 years old. She also believed that his onboard computer was on, which it was not. But in all that to say, I'm not saying, hey, she got the wrong guy. There's no question this stop happened when someone said, these detectives are here about a stop that happened at 50th and Lincoln, Daniel immediately said, I had a stop at 50th and Lincoln on the way home last night, didn't call it in. And then they proceed to take him downtown for a 2-hour interview after that.
Okay, I think
you have it, Rhonda?
I believe so. I just gotta.
Anyone else on the panel have anything since I'm dominating? I'm not a very good.
That was the rule. That was the deal. You had to be the one to do it tonight.
Well, I know, but there are people sitting here that.
Paul Ward had a question. I posted it in the private chat. Can you see it?
Is it normal for police to take their police cars home? Okay, so initially when you get out of academy, and I'm not sure if it's he was a golden boy, as we've heard. A few interesting things happened with Daniel, and maybe it's because he was an asset to them because of his strength, agility, and his work ethic. Daniel commonly says this officer or that officer drove him crazy because they were just lazy. They would sit in their car and they would, play on their phones and just not get stuff done. But he was initially issued the older model Crown Vic. And then about a year and a half later, he was given one of the new police cars. And at that point, he was allowed to take his car home. So he had a take-home car for about a year and a half. He also had been given a coveted gang unit assignment, which was kind of rare for a newer officer, since he only spent 3 years on the force before the Ligons stop. But, who would you want on gang? You would want someone who can deal with gangsters. Those people don't just put their hands behind their back and say, here, cuff me. There's your long answer. Really good at long answers.
Do we know if Jannie Ligons was she stopped a lot, or
I think
anytime near that time?
No, we don't have any other record of her being stopped, but after this happened, she seemed to be getting stopped quite a bit, and she was involved in an injury accident. She still had no license. She probably still has no license to this day, but maybe she can take her 35 cents she got from the civil settlement and try to get that all straightened out.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, did you already describe what is in this that we're showing?
So this is a video that was played at trial, except this has overlays. So you'll see arrows that are pointing to things. There'll be descriptions of what you're seeing. And this is in real time. This is the whole video, so it's 20 something minutes. And when there's nothing going on, we can chat. Anyone can just feel free to chime in and talk, because people can read what's on the screen, and they can see what's going on. So if you guys want to unmute and just make any comments that you want, feel free.
I thought that I hit play.
So here we are, June 18th, 2000.
Is it showing?
Yeah, it's on.
Oh, okay. There we go. Oh, no.
It was.
Um,
There it is.
okay.
Or Susan or Jack, anyone, if you want to read what's on the screen, you can do that too.
Yeah, I was going to say to somebody, Jack, do you want to read what's on the screen?
Sure.
Okay. Thank you.
According to Jannie Ligons' trial testimony, after she was stopped by Daniel Holtzclaw, he approached the vehicle, spoke to her briefly about his observations of her operation, and asked her to step out of the vehicle. She complied and followed him to the front passenger side of his patrol car, where he patted her down. The surveillance video begins at 2:02 a.m. at the conclusion of the pat-down.
And it begins at 2:02 because the system reboots at 2 a.m. So it took 2 minutes for the system to reboot, and by then he's patting her down. So
the first couple minutes is lost.
The first couple minutes is gone.
Okay.
Let's see. I can't see what's at the top of that. I can read this.
Okay.
It says, answer, I kept going, and then he got behind me as the lights changed on 50th and Kelly. He got behind me, and I kept going straight. And when I got to the lights on 50th and Lincoln, he was behind me, and I was going to make the turn, but I kept straight. I was going to keep straight down to Western, and that's when I passed 50th and Lincoln, and none of that made sense to me. That's when he put his lights on and I pulled over. Question. All right. So he initiated a traffic stop. Is that right? Answer. Right. Correct. Question. And you're at the area of Northeast 50th and Lincoln? Answer. Yes, sir. Question. Do you remember if you were on the west side of Lincoln or the east side of Lincoln, if you know? Answer. I really don't know. Question. You just know it was that intersection. I bet you guys can't guess who's doing the questioning here. Answer. Yes, sir. Okay. Question. Okay. I'll ask you, ma'am, do you know if that's in Oklahoma County? Answer. Of course.
So this is at trial. This is trial transcript. And I'm assuming that's Galen Geiger questioning her on direct.
Yeah, I'm sure it was. I don't know. Okay. Question. All right. Did you pull over and stop? Answer. I did. Question. Okay. And when you pulled over and stopped, can you tell me what happened? Did the officer approach you? Answer. He had his lights on. When he got out of his car, I opened up my door on the driver's side because my window don't roll down. Yes, he did. And he said he stopped me because I was swerving. And I said, hold on, let me go back a bit. And I said, no, I wasn't swerving. And then that's when he asked, what did I have in my cup there? That it was alcohol. I said, no, sir, it's Kool-Aid. I said, question, tell me about that cup. Where was there a cup in your car? Answer, it was sitting in the center of my cup holder. Answer, or question, okay, and you had a cup there. What was in it? Answer, Kool-Aid. Question, okay, and so he asked you about it. What did you say? Answer, I said, it's Kool-Aid. I said, you can taste it. God, why would he? Why would anybody? It doesn't make much sense. Okay. And then on page 255, still Gigger. Question, and what did he do? Answer, then told me to step out of the car. At this point, she's in his patrol car. Question, did you do that? Answer, yes, sir. Question, okay, when you stepped out of the car, what happened after that? Answer, I started walking back to his car, then he was walking back, but he was walking backwards, and then he looked at me and he say, what are you nervous for? And I'm like, really, I'm not nervous, which I had took a PM actually before I left because I had a headache. I took a PM aspirin, but basically that was it. I told him I wasn't nervous. So I guess she wasn't in his car yet. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, that doesn't even, you can go ahead and play it, but
Doesn't make any sense.
well, I mean, her initial report, she says that she was scared he was going to shoot her. She
All right.
she smoked 2 marijuana cigarettes. I mean, just different from trial testimony, but that's normal for all of these accusers. By the time it gets to trial, it's a different story.
Yeah. Okay. And it's playing. Okay. Question. Okay, so did he direct you to walk back to his police car? Answer. Yes, sir. Question. And that's what you did? Answer. Yes. Question. Okay. At some point, did he put you in the car? Put you in the car? God. Answer. Yes. After he put my hands on top of his car and he started searching me. Whew. Question. Tell me about that. How did he search you? Answer. I had my hands on the car and he just started patting me all over and said, do you have anything illegal on you? I said, no, sir. He said, you better let me know. If you do, I'm going to take you to jail. I said, no, sir. I don't have anything illegal on me. Question. Okay, stop for just a minute. So at this point, are you standing up? Answer. I'm standing up. Question. Beside the police car?
So she's explaining this like she had a stop. She got in some trouble in the 80s for, I think she was working for someone who was dealing drugs and she got tangled up into that. She didn't end up having any convictions on that, but I'm wondering if she got frisked like that, because she's describing being frisked like you would see on the movies.
Right.
And just to say, her story about her hands on the car, his hands on the car, that was another piece of evidence that was exculpatory for Daniel. There were no handprints of his or hers on the car.
But Kim Davis explained that away though, so it's all
well,
good.
you can't do both. Like you can't get DNA and prints. You can't do both. You got to choose one. You can't get both.
You know, if they ever did a movie or whatever, you're in. You are in.
You got Jack. You got to
Yeah.
use a little common sense here.
Yeah, I see that.
You know?
I see that.
It's pretty good, Kate.
She's
was
good.
pretty good.
She's good.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Okay.
Actually, I thought Kim had came into the studio, and I was like, wait, what the?
Yeah, Kim's at my house.
You just
Sure,
keep her
right,
on standby.
Right. Yeah.
Have a
If
whole
Kim was
lot
at
in
your
the pasture for her.
if Kim was at your house, you'd be rolling around in her yard kicking her ass. I know better.
Oh, yep, for sure. Okay, now let's see how I can answer. With my hands on top of the police car. Yeah. Question. You did some motioning, ma'am, whenever you were describing that. Answer. Uh-huh. Question. And you were patting your legs? Answer. Uh-huh. Oh, come on. I don't read as fast as this thing goes. Oh. Well, I'm just gonna. And you were patting your legs? Hang on. Okay, there we go. Question. As he searched you while you were standing up outside the car, do you, oh God, do you feel as though he touched you inappropriately in any way during that exchange? Objection, leading, testifying for the witness. Anyway, her answer, at that point in time, no, sir. I don't believe you can lead in direct examination, but what do
You
I know?
can.
You can?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I thought you could lead in cross, but not direct. Okay, I'll just be quiet now. At 2:02:24 a.m., Holtzclaw relocates Ligons to the rear passenger seat of the patrol car, where he engages in additional conversation. Answer. I told him I didn't have any on me. He patted me down, didn't find any, and he told me to go sit in the back of his police car. Question. Did you do that? Answer. Yes, sir. And he shut the door and excuse me. And he shut the door and my question. So you were all the way inside of it? Answer. Uh-huh. Question. All right. The court. Was that a yes or a no? Witness. Yes. That's the first time I ever saw where she said he shut the door with her in there.
Yeah.
It's hard to.
Maybe he shut the door when he went to search her car.
Oh, maybe, yeah.
It's not like she's going to run away. In this video, there are a couple cars that go by in the whole process of the stop. So she claims that the assault happened after the second car goes by. So she's in the back of the car. Was that her?
No, it was my son-in-law, and all the doors are closed and everything. Good Lord, he's loud. What he lacks in height, he makes up for in his voice.
Man, I wish this video were clear enough to be exculpatory.
Yeah. And I think the idea here, if I'm not mistaken, Kay, is that they just leave it there for the amount of time of in real time, what it was in real time, right?
Yeah, absolutely. This is
Yeah.
when they're flipping back to the video, it's real time with these overlays added in. So it doesn't.
Yeah. Okay, Jack, do you want to read that one again for me?
At 2:04, at 2:04:11, a.m., Holtzclaw leaves Ligons in rear passenger seat of patrol car, door closed. Approaches Ligons' vehicle via the driver's side and conducts a search.
Oops.
Well, it's just not want to cooperate with you at all, is it?
Well,
it's leaving enough time to read, but not
yeah.
really enough.
Yeah. Unless you're me, then it's not enough. Okay. Okay. Question by Gigger. What did he do at that point, if you know? Answer. He went back to my car. Like I said, my window don't let down, so my door was left open on the driver's side. He went inside my car, like apparently he saw that was Kool-Aid, and I guess he went through my purse. Question. Could you see him through the glass of the police car? Answer. No, I could not. No, I could not. Question. Okay, so you just know that he went back to your car? Answer. Oh, I seen him. Well, no, I take it. I saw him go to my car. Jeez. Question. All right. I was asking you whether or not you could see what the police officer was doing in your car. Could you see him through the window of the police car or not? Answer. No, sir. Question. Okay. You talked about how he was going through your car. How do you know he was doing that? Answer. He went to my car. Question. Okay. You just assumed he was looking around inside of it? Answer. Yes, sir.
The blue arrow is him walking to her car. Motorcycle passes by. You can see that down in the bottom left-hand corner. The picture-in-picture that shows the cars going by. So he says he does a quick search of her car. So he's smelling the juice. He's going through her purse. Says she had a couple of bottles of pills. One was hydrocodone, and I don't think he looked at him close enough. I think he looked at him and enough to see that her last name was on there. We wonder if they could have been her daughter's prescriptions, who also has the last name Ligons. But
or they could have been old prescription bottles.
At trial, Scott had them run a search of any prescriptions to her, and she had no prescriptions for hydrocodone. So,
right. Okay, Jack, you want to read this?
Okay. At 2:05 and 43 seconds a.m., yeah, 2:05, 43 seconds a.m., Holtzclaw completes the search of Ligons' vehicle. Holtzclaw returned to the rear passenger side of the patrol car, where Ligons testified that Holtzclaw asked her to lift her shirt and pull her pants down while he shined his flashlight on her body.
While she's sitting in the back?
Yes.
She's going to explain this.
Oh, boy.
Yay. Okay. Question. Well, after a while, did he come back and approach you again? Answer. Yes, sir. Question. Okay. Tell me about that. What did he do? Answer. When he came back to the police car, he opened up the back door where I was at, and he said to me, he said, how do I know you don't have anything in your bra? So, question. Now, Ms. Liggins, I want to be real clear that I understand what you're telling me, okay? You're still sitting inside the car? Answer, right. Oh, gosh. You know what? Screw that fastness. Answer, right. Question, but he's opened up the back door. Answer, right. Question, is he standing beside you? Answer, he's standing beside the car. Yeah, looking in. He said, how do I know you don't have anything in your bra? Question, what did you say? Answer, I started making motions with like picking with my bra. I said, no, sir, I don't have anything in my bra. And he said, I can't tell like that. And I'm like, what? Do you want me to lift up my blouse? And he be like, yes. So when I lift up my blouse, when I lift up my blouse, and my bra came up, he took his flashlight and shined it on my chest, and I put my blouse down really quick. Question, okay. So your decision to go ahead and pull your shirt up, your blouse up. Answer, uh-huh. Question, he had just asked you the one time about your bra, and is your response your response is I'll just do that, or had he asked you more than one time, or tell me exactly how that happened?
God,
God damn.
what a question. Okay.
Whew. Answer, no, he asked one time for me to lift my shirt up, and I, being a police officer, that's what I did. Question, so he told you to lift your shirt up? Answer, yes. Okay, when you did that, did you say that your bra came up as well? Answer, it just kind of lifted, and it came. Oh, fuck.
Oh, you said bad word.
Oh, okay.
Dang, we're going to give someone a seizure.
Myself.
Anyone who has seizure disorder, close your eyes.
Close your eyes. And let's see, line 7. So he told you to lift your shirt up. Answer, yes. Okay, and when you did that, did you say that your bra came up as well? Answer, I just kind of lifted and it came up like that, and he shined his light and I put it down. Question, okay, whenever you lifted your blouse up, ma'am. Answer, uh-huh. And when he started shining, were your breasts, now it'll take forever to change. I'll just leave y'all hanging on your breasts. And he started shining, were your breasts actually exposed, or was it your bra still covering your breasts? Answer, no, it was exposed to a certain extent, not all the way up, but it was exposed. And question, okay, were your, oh God, such a dick. Were your nipples exposed? Answer, yes, they were. Oh, question, okay, and he took a flashlight and shined it on them. Answer, yes, he did. Question, oh, fuck, I thought I had it paused. Sorry, guys. Okay, did he touch you in any way? Answer, no. Question, okay, and then I think you said after he shined the light and looked, then you put your shirt back down? Answer, correct. Okay, question, at that point, what happened? Answer, at that point, he said, how do I know you have anything in your pants? So I started doing my pockets like this, and I can't tell like that. And he wanted me to turn around, like he said, turn around to the side. And I turned around to the side, and he asked me to get out of his car. I got out of his car, and so I started fidgeting with my pants. And he can't tell like that. I said, what, you want me to pull my pants down? And he said something like, yes.
Something like yes. Okay. He said something like
He said
yes.
something like yes.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
Oh Lord. So me not knowing, I pulled my pants down, and when I pulled them down to my knee, and I had black underwear, and I kind of was fidgeting with them, and he said he had his flashlight, and I was kind of shining it between my legs, and I pulled them up really fast, and I turned around to get back in. Question. Now, okay, so you've actually stepped out of the car? Answer. Yes, sir, I did. Question. Are you standing in that part of the car where the door is open, but you're just standing right there? Let's see. This seems like become a race. No, I was outside the car. Question. I understand you're standing up, but is the door still open to the passenger side? Answer. The door is still open. Question. Are you right in that area where the door opens, or have you stepped away from that area? I stepped away from the door. Question. Okay. As I understood it, you said you pulled your pants down. Did your underwear stay up? Answer. Yes, sir, they did. Question. Okay, so your skin, your private parts were not exposed? No, sir, it wasn't. Question. All right, and you pull them down, and then he looked with the flashlight again? Answer. He looked the flashlight. Question. During this time period that you've told me about, either while you were sitting in the car and you pulled your shirt up at his direction, or when you got out, did you notice if he was doing anything was he touching you? Was he doing anything with his hands during this time period?
She forgot to say he was touching himself.
Yeah. Yeah, so he's got to bring her back to that.
Help
Answer.
her out, Galen. Help
Yep.
her out.
Testify for her, because that's how this goes. Can somebody else take over the reading, please? Susan or Jack, or Susan and Jack?
Sure.
Okay.
But I have a black. Okay. Answer. He wasn't touching me, but he was touching himself, like, had his hand down there touching himself. Question. At what part of this exchange did you notice that he was touching himself? Answer. When I got back into the car, and that's when I noticed he was touching himself. Question. All right, now hang on. So you got out, you pulled your pants down.
Oh, sorry. Can you not see it?
No.
It's black. There it is.
So you got out, you pulled your pants down at his direction, you pulled them back up, and then you got back in the car? Answer. Correct. Yeah. After he made a comment, like he said, "Damn, you got a big ass." Those are the exact words. And I'm like, oh my God, he's going to kill me. That's what I kept saying to myself.
But she wasn't afraid, remember? Earlier, she wasn't afraid.
She wasn't nervous.
Yeah. Question. And at that point, he directed you to get back in the police car? Answer. Uh-huh. The court. Was that a yes or a no, ma'am? That's a yes, sir. Thank you. Question by Gigger. And at this point, Miss Ligons, that you noticed he started touching himself, or is answer? It was at that point he started touching himself when I got back into the car, sir.
Oh. And it's funny that she thinks after he says she's got a big ass, well, everywhere else she said,
oh, he's going to kill me.
Oh my God, he's going to kill me. He told me I have a big ass. Now he's going to kill me.
Was he go around killing people with
big asses?
Yeah.
He said, "Whoa, you got a big ass."
There's going to be a lot of dead people in Oklahoma and Texas. Well, actually,
hey now,
every state
Jack.
in the union.
Hey now.
Question. Okay, Ms. Liggins. You're back in the car at this point. Is that right? Correct. Question. Okay, now, are you all the way in with the door shut, or is the door still open? Answer. The door is still open. Question. Are your feet in the car? Answer. My feet is in the car at that point in time.
Oh,
Question. Okay, but the door is still open? Answer. The door is still open. Question. Okay, what happens next? Answer. He had me to turn my feet to the side, and that's what I did. I turned my feet to the side. Question. And by that, do you mean you put your feet outside of the car? Answer. Outside of the car, sir. Question. But you're still sitting on the passenger. Answer. I'm still sitting, but my feet are turned outside. Question. And you're in the back seat of the car. Answer. I'm in the back seat, Question. Okay. Do you remember which side of the car you're
probably on.
sitting on?
So Jennifer Manning says, why wasn't she arrested for no license, and where was she coming from at 2 a.m.? So she had been at some friend's house playing dominoes. And I think because of the area that Daniel worked, the Northeast sector, where a lot of people didn't have driver's license, he didn't typically arrest people for things he perceived to be trivial like that, no driver's license or city warrants. He wouldn't waste his time taking people to jail. He says he would have just been booking people into jail all the time if he did that. That maybe if he worked on the north side or in an area where things were really boring, maybe he would have done something like that on someone with a license that had been suspended for 30 years, but it just wasn't his practice in the Northeast sector.
Yeah, I want to make another comment. We just saw the video. We've been seeing it. He's sitting there with those lights blaring.
Mm-hmm.
You know, when you say, people can't say, you can't hear something visual, but I can hear those lights flashing loud and clear.
Yeah.
So he's going to sexually assault someone on the side of the road with his lights on. Everybody that goes by is going to look. They're going to look.
Yeah.
And she says he waited until the last car drove by to sexually assault her, but I'm like, how would he know that was going to be the last car going by?
Absolutely. That's
ridiculous.
That's
and he's at a busy intersection too. I know it's 2 a.m, but
that's some perfect logic there. He just waited on the last car. They closed all the gates up. Are you kidding me?
Here's the thing that most of these women have in common is it's not unusual for them to be out and about in the middle of the night. Right. And this area, this area has a lot of activity for that time of night. I don't know. That's never been my lifestyle to have my days and nights turned around, I guess.
Yeah, mine either.
Yeah.
Well, I worked night shift for years. Like years. 12, 13 years off and on. More on than off. It's different. I mean, even to this day, I have issues at times about being able to sleep.
Has anyone tried to obtain Jeffrey Sellers' stop records or dispatch records to compare to Daniel Holtzclaw as well? We would love to have those. Obviously, the detectives didn't dig into that, but these allegations, and all of the stuff with having sex with prostitutes while on duty, that did come about after Daniel was already in prison. But it isn't something that we've been able to obtain, as well as we've not been able to obtain Alexander Edwards' AVL records to see where he was during the Sherry Ellis allegations either. So that would be good. Oklahoma City is not, they're not forthcoming with turning over evidence that the defense wants.
You want me to read that?
Yeah.
Yes, please,
Well,
Jack.
Well, it's black screen. Okay,
Well,
there's black.
There it is.
There it goes. Okay. 1 minute 48 seconds after Holtzclaw returned to the rear passenger side of the patrol car, a flashlight beam becomes clearly visible on the ground adjacent to the rear passenger tire of the patrol car and remains illuminated for 60 seconds. 2:08:41 seconds.
So the flashlight's on the ground, not anywhere else.
Well,
He could
right.
have, yeah, he could have it. You know how officers sometimes put it under their arm?
Yep.
But he obviously needed it to illuminate the area. Well, I mean, there are lights around, but it's still, and his lights, but he still used it to illuminate.
There's another car.
He's
coming.
obviously not shining it on her.
Yeah, if it's
Big
running
ass.
on the ground.
If it's hitting the ground.
What does Daniel say about this? Does he recall or?
Specifically what, Susan? About the flashlight situation?
Yeah.
The only comment I remember him saying is that yes, he did have his flashlight, that he always gets his flashlight out when he stops someone.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he would have used his flashlight to search your car. He would have used it to illuminate, because when he was in his stint with the gang unit, they taught him to disable the interior lights of his car, because they told him that he was a sitting duck if he was sitting somewhere with, and also that having that light come off and on puts you at a disadvantage, because it takes a while for your eyes to focus back to the dark, and it could just be a dangerous situation in some kind of a split second
That makes total sense.
ordeal. So although some of these women say that his light was on in the back of his car, it would not have been. And that's not anything that the crime lab documented either. They probably would have turned it back on if they had thought to document that.
Jack, do you mind?
Okay. All right. Blow this up here. At 2:07, till 7:40 a.m., the vehicle traveled east on Northeast 50th by Ligons, and the patrol car and turned north on Beverly. Ligons testified that just prior to the vehicle passing the patrol car and turning into a quote-unquote parking lot, Holtzclaw exposed his penis. While the vehicle was passing the patrol car at a slow rate of speed, Liggins testified that Holtzclaw's penis remained out, that one or both of his hands were placed on the roof of the patrol car, and that he watched the vehicle pass. Liggins testified that after the vehicle pulled into the quote-unquote parking lot, she was sexually assaulted. Sorry, I don't believe a word of it. Not a word. Nary a
I
word.
don't either. Okay. Somebody else want to read, or Jack, you good, or
I can
Kay,
read it.
or
Yeah,
Cherie?
I
Okay.
can read it.
All right.
Liggins' description of the sexual assault. Liggins testified that she, quote, touched his penis, unquote, for, quote unquote, a little bit, and then Holtzclaw, I can do this. She then testified that he backed away and let me out of the car. Liggins further claimed that his penis did go into her mouth a little bit, not much, but it went in there. When asked how long this occurred, she testified, not for very long because I wouldn't allow it. She testified that he, Holtzclaw, backs up. I got out of the police car.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
I wouldn't allow it. I pulled
A
my
little
shirt
bit,
up.
not much,
Yeah.
but it went in there.
I thought I was going to get shot, but I was in control of this
But I
section.
was in control.
Now
Yeah.
you're talking about my big butt again, okay?
Yeah. Yeah.
Ooh, you got a big ass.
I wouldn't
pulled up
allow
my
it.
shirt and exposed my breasts, and I pulled my pants down, but I would not allow that.
Nope.
And so why did she allow it in her mouth at all if she wouldn't allow it? Come on.
Right.
Just 10 seconds, Susan.
Just 10 seconds was all.
10-second blowjob. Everyone wants a 10-second blowjob.
Right, Jack?
That's right.
And
That's what
remember,
that's what guys do.
remember, this was at the end of all the assaults, and the detectives say that he was ramping up. He was getting more bold and more bold, but his last one was a 10-second blowjob. Okay. That's really ramping up.
Right.
Okay. All right. Susan, are you good to read this?
You bet.
Thank you.
Answer. I'm still sitting, but my feet are turned outside. Question. And you're in the back seat of the car? Answer. I'm in the back seat. Question. Okay. Do you remember which side of the car you're on, the driver's side or the passenger side? Answer. Passenger side. Question. So back seat passenger side? Answer. Question. Okay. What happens then, ma'am? Answer. He unzipped his pants and takes his penis out and said, quote unquote, come on. Then I quoted, I was twirling my hands together. I was so afraid. I said, no, sir. Now, you're not supposed to do this. You're not supposed to do this, sir. He said, come on. He said, I don't have all night. Jesus.
What else did he say?
And I'm still sitting, but my feet are turned outside. Question. And you're in the back seat of the car? Jesus. Answer. I'm in the back seat. Question. Okay. Do you remember which side of the car? Did I read this already?
Yeah, this is the same page. It's just playing.
Oh.
Sorry. I'm sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought, God, she's repeating herself. He said, I just got off work. By this time, it was a gold SUV passed by the street, and he was like in front of me. He had his hand on top of his car, and when the SUV passed by...
Lord, that was fast.
No kidding.
Over there.
When the SUV passed by, he looked at it as far as where it was going. It went through that parking lot where I had pulled over at. The car went to that parking lot and he was following them as they was going through the parking lot. And as they passed and went all the way around, then he turned back around to me. Question. Okay, so he watched where that car went? Answer. Yes, sir, he did. Question. Did that car go on by and go where it was going? Answer. It went on by through that parking lot. Question. Now, ma'am, I want to ask a couple of things about what you just told me, okay? Okay. As you were sitting in the car, he's standing beside you? Correct. Okay. And you said at some point, you said he unzipped his fly and pulled his penis out. Did he just unzip it and take it out of the opening of the fly? Or did he undo the pants and do it some other way? Or do you know? Answer. I can remember. He didn't undo, he just unzipped it and took it out. I remember very well. Question. Okay, it was exposed. It was exposed. Do you know if it was erect or not? Excuse me? Do you know? Was it hard? Do you know? I would say so, yes. Okay, as this car goes by, he's now put his hands up on top of the roof of the car. Uh-huh. The police car? Uh-huh. The court. Was that a yes or a no? The witness. Oh, yes. Yes, sir. The court. Thank you. Question by Yeager. After he watches the car go by, what happens at that point? He turned back and looked at me and he said, come on. He said, I don't have all night. He said, I just got off work and I'm tired. Just give me a 10-second blowjob. Come on.
But I got 10 seconds for a quickie.
Question. Okay. Is that it? No.
No, yeah, it's the next page.
Okay. He says, come on, just got off. What happens next? He told me he just got off work. And I'm sitting there. No, sir, don't make me do this. Don't make me do this. I said, you're going to shoot me. And I'm sitting there looking afraid. I tried to bend my head down, but I was looking at that gun in his holster. And I'm saying to myself, let's see.
Okay, go ahead.
And I'm saying to myself when I bend down, he's going to shoot me in the head. I was really afraid. So I tried to, but I couldn't. I raised my head back up and I said, sir, please don't make me do this. Don't make me do this. You're going to shoot me. Then he made the comment. He said, I'm not going to shoot you. I promise. I said, you promise? And he kind of made a snicker sound. Question, a sniffle sound? Answer, a snicker, like a grin. He kind of grinned. Question, like a laugh? Answer, a laugh. Question, okay. And what happened then, ma'am? After then, because he said he wasn't going to shoot me, promise, I tried to hold my head back down and touch.
So much bullshit.
And touch?
And touch. We're waiting for the page.
I tried to hold my head back down and touch his penis, which I did a little bit, but I was so afraid. I held my head back up and I said, oh, no, sir, I can't do this.
I just switched so fast. What the hell, man?
He backed away and he let me out of the car. Question, were you pleading with him at this point? Answer, yes, sir. I thought he was going to kill me. I just did. I couldn't see myself getting away with that. Question, Ms. Ligons, before he backed away, I know you said a moment ago you did. Did his penis go in your mouth? Answer, it did a little bit, not much, but it went in there. Question, not for very long? Answer, not for very long because I wouldn't allow it. Question, okay, so you tried to do what he said, but then you answer, I tried, I couldn't. Question, and you pled with him to stop and he did. Answer, uh-huh, he did stop.
God.
Another vehicle passes.
Uh-huh.
Right behind him.
Wow. Now, she says it took place on the passenger side,
Yeah.
but we're looking at the passenger side, are we not?
Yes.
I mean, doesn't that disprove her statement altogether?
Well, a lot of things disprove her statement, but it didn't matter to the detectives.
Yeah.
They didn't pay attention to anything that was exculpatory.
I mean, didn't his lawyer say, you're looking at the passenger side right there? Do you see anything happening?
I can't remember if that's one of the things that he caught or didn't catch. Rhonda?
It's been a long, long time since I've read hers.
We'll be getting back into that really soon.
Yeah. Yep.
I mean, this is what they showed in court, did you say?
It's not exactly this. They showed the grainy, no assistance of the arrows or no assistance of the frame. You really can't even.
Bottom.
Yeah, the cars
Can't
aren't
tell.
superimposed on there so that you can actually see what they are.
Okay.
213, vehicle traveling north on North Lincoln turns west on Northeast 50th Street. Good thing she wasn't giving him a blowjob right then.
Yep, the 10 seconds had come and gone. And I did the math on this. And if you watch from this time that this begins to the time he turns off his lights and gets in his car and turns off his lights, it's just a little over 13 minutes long, not 15 minutes. I realize that's only 2 minutes, but when you're talking about your life and your freedom, 2 minutes makes a difference.
Well, I mean, many of these cases, they're fitting an assault into a couple minutes. As Kim Davis would say, 2 minutes is enough to put your penis in someone's vagina.
Yeah.
She loves to say that.
She does to say it.
She does.
Yep. All right. Jack, you want to finish this one off?
Yep. Blow this up here. As shown previously, Ligons testified that the sexual assault occurred immediately after the SUV slowly passed the car stop. She further testified that the assault itself lasted a little bit and that she wouldn't allow it, after which Holtzclaw let her out of the patrol car and she left the scene. The video surveillance footage clearly shows Ligons exiting the patrol car 4 minutes and 18 seconds after the SUV passed the car stop.
Clearly, it's not clearly to me. You have to really, it does, but it's
pretty grainy.
It's pretty grainy. But I know that a lot of work went into this too.
I think Daniel was really relieved in his interview when he heard there was surveillance of it.
Yeah.
And he ended up being this.
He wanted to see the
surveillance. Yeah.
But Rocky thought he should be worried. No.
Yeah.
Oh, so you do want to see it? Yeah.
Yeah, I do.
Show me that bitch. I want to see.
Well, you know how long it takes to clean that up? No, I have no idea.
No, I don't, but get it done because I want to see it.
Well, according to Rocky, it's a 14-incher, so that may take some time. I'm just saying.
Jesus.
He's so
Bastard.
sick.
I know. All right. At 2:10 and 40 seconds a.m., Ligons is visible walking towards her vehicle along the front passenger side of the patrol car. She walks through the gap between the vehicles and enters her car through the driver's side door. Holtzclaw walks around the rear of the patrol car and enters the patrol car through the driver's side door. The patrol car strobes are turned off shortly after, and the car stop ends. The video shows both vehicles performing a U-turn and leaving the scene with Holtzclaw in front of Ligons.
She says that he leaves at a high rate of speed.
He left so fast she couldn't even see his taillights.
Right. You'll see that's not true either.
Okay.
Answer. No.
No, go ahead. Sorry.
He backs up. Answer. He backs up. I get out of the police car and I didn't know what else to say. The only thing that would come to my mind, because I thought when I walked away, it was going to shoot me in the back. The only thing I could say was, thank you, sir. Thank you, sir, for not taking me to jail.
Oh. Whoa.
And the things he said to me, he said, okay, I'm going to follow you to your daughter's house. I said, follow me to my daughter's house? To myself, I said, why are you following me to my daughter's house? And so I'm like, fine. So, question, had you told him you were on your way to your daughter's house? Answer, I did. Question, that's why he knew that? Answer, that's why he knew that, yes. Okay, so he says he's going to do that? He's going to follow me to my daughter's house. Are you allowed to get in your car? I got in my car. Okay, and then what did he do? Did he go back? Did he go back? I don't know.
Like you.
Did he?
Let's guess.
Did he go back to his car or what happened? He got in his car for him to follow me. I turned into the driveway where he had stopped me at, but he's going to follow me, but he's always ahead of me. So when I turned around, we both at the light getting ready to turn on I-44 in Lincoln. He went so fast I barely saw which way he went. And I said, for somebody to follow me, they sure is going fast. The witness, I'm sorry. They told me to talk. I'm going to talk slow. But he said he was going to follow me over to my daughter's house. And when I got, question, okay, so you got to the light and you were going to make the turn to get on I-44? Answer, correct? Question, but he just took off and kept going? Answer, he took off bad. It was fast, speeding real fast. Question, okay. Did he go onto the freeway, onto I-44? Answer, he went on I-44. Question, and he was ahead of you now? Way ahead of me.
How do you know? You couldn't see him. He was going so fast.
She walks through and then goes back.
No, wait. They said she came out of the rear passenger door.
I thought so. They said she walked to the rear of the car to the passenger side, which she does, but then she goes back to the driver's side.
I thought they said she came out of the rear passenger, went between the cars, and then got into her vehicle.
Right. Let's see. Oh.
She's not getting out of the rear passenger side. That's the driver's side.
Yeah, she gets out of the driver's side, walks between the cars to the passenger side, but then goes back and gets in the driver's side.
I don't see her walking to the passenger side.
You don't see her come to the rear of the car and come. She doesn't go to the side. She just walks to that side of the back of the car.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Between the cars, she never comes around to the side.
Oh.
Am I not seeing that correctly? Anyone else see what I'm seeing?
Well, I'm not gonna lie, I don't see anything. Honestly, for me, it's just too grainy. I've tried to figure it out, but
So
now watch how fast he goes. Oh, sorry.
Here he is. He
Watch down at
flips
the
a
bottom.
U-turn.
Speeding.
He goes so fast, he was gone.
Oh, come on.
She was already behind him right there. She was
Jesus
already
Christ.
behind him. Freaking God, I will not be.
What a liar. What
Wow.
a damn liar. I mean, just, another thing, and I'm going to go slightly off topic, and this is for Kay and Sherry and Rhonda, well, and Susan too, and anyone in the live chat. Given where we are right now, I promise I'll be brief. Given where we are right now with the case, and considering what let's just say these 13 alleged victims did on the stand, through all that shit, and then trying to sue the city of Oklahoma, and there was really in reality almost zero payout. I think one got some money that she sued separately. Did she get a little bit of cash out of it, like 25 grand or some shit?
Yeah,
Isn't that right?
Demetria Campbell, who was never a part of this case, she just filed a civil suit after this case came out into the news. Because there was a use of force violation with her.
Yeah.
And she was misidentified. And, so it was easy for her to get a $25,000 payout. But yeah, she got more than the other victims got, who had to wade through all these years of trial.
She got more than all of them combined, right?
No. How much, Rhonda, did they get all together? Or each?
Well, I did the math. At 45%, they would have contingency. They would have gotten about 12,000 and about 12,800. So maybe 13,000 each.
Well, Jack, she may have not gotten much more than that, because I seriously doubt if she. I bet her case was a contingency as well.
Oh, I'm sure I would bet on it too. Yeah. So
it just didn't go on for as long.
Sure.
Yeah.
Well, that's still probably would have taken minimum 33%, right? And it could have been up to 40
minimum
or 45%.
Up to 45.
Yeah. So, okay. So, given all that, and all this stuff that allegedly happened, is it surprising, not surprising, that these women haven't banded together and tried to pull a class action, or do you think that's just completely out of the realm? Just not something they wouldn't do.
Well, they've already sued.
A class action against who? They dismissed with prejudice.
Well, they can't refile anything against Daniel, but I mean, they could come forward and tell the truth. And
exactly, that's what I'm saying. Come forward and say, hey, there's something going on here, or some stuff that went on with Blink Winkle and Rocky.
Yeah, if they wanted to be truthful, and if they wanted to tell the story about how they were coerced, or what was really said to them to get them to become a part of the case, because I'm sure some of these women thought, oh yeah, maybe I'll be on easy street if I do this. He did sexually assault me. But like Terry Morris, who didn't want to be a part of it at all.
Right.
I mean, they really put her through the ringer to get her to become a part of the case. And they coerced her. Well, I mean, she's in the county jail before she decides to tell her story. And it's obvious that her story had been rehearsed, because we only have one half of that interview recorded, and the camera's audio video is readily available at the county jail where she was, where the informant brought her to be interviewed. And Rocky just happened to be there on another matter. It's ridiculous. I mean, when did Carla Raines come around? She said 7 times that, no, he didn't touch me. He never touched me. How'd you get my name on something like this? Because I hadn't been on the streets or anything. And then all of a sudden, she has her allegations against him.
Yeah.
You know,
definitely by preliminary, she had an allegation.
And that was recorded. Her denials.
Yeah, it was recorded. I mean, at the end of that interview, she says, I mean, no, there was this black officer one time and he exposed himself to me, and then Rocky shuts the recorder off real fast after she says that. And he never puts that in his police report. Just like he never puts in his police report that Carla Raines said 7 times that Holtzclaw didn't touch, that he didn't do anything inappropriate with her. Anything exculpatory isn't in there.
And then he explains that away, I think in the Malkin interview, when Michelle Malkin interviews Rocky and Blinkwinkle, he says, well, she pulled me aside and told me that, or no, he didn't say she pulled me aside. He said she kept saying that he didn't touch her because her mama was there, her grandmama was there or whatever, and she didn't want her to know anything about it. So she just, that's why she was saying that, because she didn't want her grandma to hear her,
right.
What he's talking about.
It's interesting, Rhonda, how Gregory has all of these explanations for things like the one you just mentioned. But then with Terry Morris, his explanation for why she changed the location of the assault radically from one area of town to a different area of town that just happens to be the area of town that Daniel Holtzclaw stopped her on May 8th.
And a radically different date as well.
Right. I mean, he gets her to tell the story of a route of Daniel's AVL from May 8th, when she still, in her deposition for the civil suit, still says it was only a couple days before the 911 call. So she's still sticking to the 20th or 21st.
Right.
But because they were able to get her to tell that May 8th story, they were able to go ahead with the case. And how they were able to bring Jannie Ligons along for it with no evidence whatsoever is just baffling.
You had another video that you wanted me to show, Kay, that you had
I
from
think
the interrogation. Did you still want to do that?
Yeah, actually, though, I have a list of actions that happened after this traffic stop, before Daniel's interview, and then we can wrap it up after that.
Okay.
So 2:02, the traffic stop at 50th and Lincoln. And then at 3:23, Officer Anthony Carter, he gets a call from his mom, Frances Carter, who says Jannie Ligons told her that she was assaulted. This is Ligons' family member, distant cousin or something, that works at Spring Lake Station, the same place that Daniel's staffing station is. Carter told his mom to tell Ligons to call 911. She didn't call 911. Carter received a call later that night from Jannie Ligons' sister, Edna, who said Ligons told her the suspect looked like he may have had bad acne at some point, Then the investigators told her they will show her some pictures to see if she can pick him out at a later date. So that's at 3:23. At 3:40 a.m., Ligons, her daughter Marissa, Marissa's kids, and then in a different car, Marissa's boyfriend, Ligons' boyfriend. I mean, it's just this whole family affair. They load up in 2 cars to go flag down some officers to report this. So at 3:40 a.m., Ligons and Marissa talked to Wegner and Booth, who are sitting in their cars at 5500 block of North Lincoln, not too far from where the traffic stop happened. 3:44, Ligons tells Wegner and Booth her attacker was 35 years old, 6 foot tall, 220 with blondish hair. 3:59 a.m., the on-call sex crimes lieutenant, Dave Gullikers, he's contacted by dispatch regarding the call from Wegner and Booth. Gullikers tells Booth to transport Ligons from the location to the location of the traffic stop. Gullikers' report says the suspect was a white male with blonde hair. 4:06 a.m., Gullikers contacts Kim Davis, who was on call for the sex crimes unit. Gullikers, Wegner, and Davis, they determine that Southwest Medical Center is the hospital that is on rotation for the SANE exam. Davis heads to Southwest Medical Center to interview Ligons. There's no time on the police report of this. Ligons describes the suspect again, 35 to 45, 5'7" to 5'9", and 225 pounds. Thick build, blonde hair with a part on the right side. No facial hair, no glasses. Skin was not smooth. 4:22 a.m., Gullikers notifies Captain Ron Basie. Basie tells Gullikers to notify Lieutenant Timothy Musney, the sex crime supervisor, who says he was headed to Southwest Medical Center. Gullikers calls Musney. Musney heads to 50th and Lincoln. Lieutenant Musney calls Davis at the hospital. Musney meets Lieutenant Brian Taylor, who is Elaine Taylor's son. So we've got Elaine Taylor, the crime lab analyst. We've got Rocky Gregory, her son-in-law, one of the lead detectives, and we've got one of the first officers on the scene, Elaine Taylor's son, Lieutenant Brian Taylor. So they all go to 50th and Lincoln. They review the surveillance video with the off-duty officer, Sergeant Justin Walters. At 4:39 a.m., Musney tells Gulliker he is taking over the investigation. So they got Gulliker out of there. 4:51, Lieutenant Taylor phones Sergeant Walters to review the video footage. At 5:30 a.m., Detective Rob High is called out to the security building. Rob High is Rocky Gregory's partner, and he ends up being the person who suggests to Rocky Gregory that, hey, Terry Morris is claiming exactly the same things that Jannie Ligons is claiming, so he might be a serial rapist. At 6:30 a.m., the SANE exam begins. And then at some unknown time, Davis leaves the hospital and meets Detective High to search for more video. Time unknown, Davis drives to Ligons' daughter's house. to get a waiver to search the vehicle and to pick up Ligons' cell phone for forensic processing. 2:15 p.m. Here we are getting ready. Daniel's about to come on shift. 2:15 p.m. Lieutenant Dickinson contacts Officer Chelsea Gordon, who was told to photograph Holtzclaw at Spring Lake Briefing Station. 3:45, Daniel Holtzclaw is photographed by Gordon in Captain Clifton's office. Sergeant McBride was with Gordon. Backing up, for some reason, this isn't chronological. 3:20 p.m. Musney picks up the DVD of the Ligons traffic stop and returns to start looking at lineups. He's putting together a lineup for some reason. We don't know why, because Daniel, the first thing he said was, yes, I made a traffic stop at 50th and Lincoln on the way home, didn't call it in. So there's no dispute that Daniel was the officer that stopped her. So I don't know what's the big deal with looking at lineups. From Musney's report, upon return, he's given copies of the second shift lineup by Captain Basie. Basie sent Musney photo of second and third shift officers who worked the night of the incident. Still, why are they putting these together when Holtzclaw already said, I'm the one that pulled her over?
What time were they doing that, Kay?
This is at like 3:20 in the afternoon.
Because Daniel, they haven't seen Daniel yet, if it was that early.
Well, actually, they have. Daniel comes in at 3:45 for his 4 o'clock lineup.
Gotcha.
And they immediately bring him into Clifton's office. I don't know why I had this out of order. Maybe just because I pulled it out of a different report. But yeah, I mean, they're still, okay, I'm sorry. I guess that makes sense. But they were still talking about lineups even after that. So even after said, yes, I did that.
Yeah.
Musney prepared the lineup and advised Davis he and Gregory were ready to show the victim a lineup. After reviewing the lineup, Detective Davis was not happy with the lineup. She requested that we meet with Deputy Chief Coleman and discuss other options. Detectives Davis, Gregory, High, and Musney then went to meet with Major Wenzel and Chief Coleman. And this is the big powwow meeting where we don't know what they talked about. But I believe it's at this time that they decide that they have to make this work. They have to make it work because of all the craziness that's going on around the country. And what if she goes to the press, which she ended up doing a few days later. So they powwow. During the meeting, they were told that all but one officer could be eliminated by AVL. We decided to go to Spring Lake Station and meet with Officer Holtzclaw and see if he would be willing to come in for an interview. We arrived at Spring Lake, waited for Holtzclaw to arrive. Once he arrived, he was taken to Major Jennings' office by Captain Clifton. Shortly after this, he was headed downtown for an interview with Gregory and Davis. Upon our arrival, I started the DVR and made sure it was recording. See, they know how to do that. They just didn't do it other times. Listened and watched most of the interview from the viewing area. This is Musney's report. So Musney was outside watching the whole interview of Holtzclaw. 3:20 to 3:40 or to 4 o'clock. Musney, Davis, Gregory, Coleman, Wenzel, High, convene at Spring Lake before the 4 o'clock lineup. That must have come out of someone else's report. Davis's report. We arrived before second shift lineup began. We talked to Captain Clifton and discussed the physical description the victim gave. Captain Clifton said, everyone's hair looks blonde in the LED lights on the police cars. And you'll hear that over and over. I mean, Kim Davis tells Michelle Malkin in the interview, just like, oh yeah, doesn't everyone know that everyone's hair looks blonde under those police lights? So no big deal. 4 p.m. Holtzclaw arrives. So I've got multiple reports I compiled, I guess, a while back. He readily acknowledges the traffic stop with Ligons and states that he did not call it in. He agrees to go downtown for an interview with Davis and Gregory. And so then we're just going to play just a little piece of this interview. And it's the piece where Gregory, they've already questioned him about Ligons. He's gone through the story several times. And now Rocky's going to throw the Terry Morris allegations on him. And he's going to tell Daniel that they're exactly the same. And just watch Daniel. This is a 5-minute clip here. Are you queuing it, Rhonda?
Yeah, I'm queuing it. I got to see what the name of it is. Okay, there it is.
Making sure you weren't muted.
Okay.
Let's see.
Okay. You probably not necessarily going to remember the name. Her name is Terry Morris. Okay. Black female. Supposedly you promised her a ride to the city rescue mission. This ring a bell?
No.
You did a traffic stop with her. She thought you ran for warrants. Clicking. Drove her around.
Mm-hmm. No. Name doesn't. I don't recall a name like that.
She's claiming the same thing. The exact same thing.
No.
And here again, for whatever reason, things are pointing at you again.
Right.
Now, this was before even this incident this morning. Traffic stopped, now logged in, all that stuff.
This morning?
No, this has been a little bit ago.
Okay.
This was here just a couple of weeks ago.
Okay.
Okay. Anything?
Do
you remember stopping?
I don't recall a name of Terry Morris.
Well, I wouldn't remember a name.
How about black female downtown, city rescue mission? That's what I was trying to jog your memory.
I haven't been to a city rescue mission.
I didn't say you made it there.
Have you promised anybody a ride to the city rescue
I
mission?
haven't asked anyone asked me to city rescue mission.
No, she didn't have to ask you. Did you offer to take anybody to the city rescue mission?
No, I don't offer anyone because I don't like going there. To be honest with you, I
don't like dealing with what?
I don't like going over to the city rescue mission or anything like that.
Okay. How about any stops of a person just walking, even just downtown? Anywhere downtown?
No. I don't in Spring Lake I don't go downtown. Besides if I go to Classen, not Classen, but Western and Maine to Valero's to
or the jail.
Our jail.
Or headquarters, right. Property.
Right.
And you just don't remember doing any of those type of stops?
No.
Not in the last month or so?
No.
Do you run everybody that you come in contact with?
Majority of the time.
But you didn't run old girl this morning.
The 50th
in Lincoln.
No, I didn't run her.
the other girl that he's talking about is kind of making the same allegations, and that's weird.
Yeah,
It doesn't look good. I mean,
that's
it doesn't
weird.
look, yeah, it
That's
doesn't look
weird.
good. So, no, I don't. No one with the city rescue mission. Never been asked, never been offered anyone to go there.
Do you give people rides sometimes?
I do give people rides. I do.
Because sometimes I'd be like, I am not a taxi cab.
I'll go.
But
have you always been in your new car? I mean, have you ever had it down? Driving another?
I've had a wreck on 20-something King where it was down for a little bit. Starting out was in pool cars, but this is my take-home car.
But I'm saying in the last month, have you been driving any of the older cars?
No.
black and white versus the solid
Yeah, I think
black.
this is the only car I've been in.
Have you ever driven a black and white car?
I have, yeah.
When was that?
Right out of Academy, regular Crown Vic.
But when you wrecked your car and it was down, what did you drive?
Crown Vic, black and white.
A black and white one.
Right.
When was that?
A year ago, maybe.
Oh, okay. How long have you had to take them for?
Probably a year and a half.
And it's been this one.
This one, yeah.
So you wrecked it 6 months after having it?
Somewhere around there,
That sucks.
yeah.
Was it your fault?
No.
Well, that's good.
What do you think about all this?
Heads out here. I want you to take the exam and get this over with. I feel embarrassed because going to the station.
Well, that's why we try to handle it.
Right. And I've heard of officers going through this and whatnot, and that's something I don't want my rep to be, about. I'm a good officer. I don't. That's not me. It's not me.
Are you circumcised?
I am circumcised.
Just asking. Do you have pubic hair?
Yes.
Well, I mean, some people manscape, as you call it.
Right.
Oh, is this where she's gonna? Did she already tell him about the pubes in the back of the car?
I don't remember. I guess we can.
That's all right. Yeah, I did tell you to stop it there. I just thought about that. Well, anyway, our lovely Catnip has posted a link to the interview in the chat, and it's maddening. I mean, the first time I watched it, I'm embarrassed to say that I was bored around Christmas break. I'd heard about this case. Daniel was already in prison. I didn't know him personally from my hometown. I thought he was guilty, and I was watching that to see if he was a good liar. And then I was horrified. I mean, he has some awkward little ticks, but like I said, I didn't know Daniel. I don't know. I do now. I mean, I know that now that was just Daniel being Daniel, but the whatnots and the, I don't know, just how calm he is in this situation. I mean, you can see when his head starts spinning and he's thinking when they lay this Terry Morris thing on him, his eyes just seem like, what is going on? But watch the whole thing, you guys, if you haven't. It's unbelievable how unprofessional the detectives are. Don't take everything they say at face value, because they're going to tell him that the crimes lab found, CSI found pubes in the back seat of the car, and they're sending them to the lab. Are those going to be your pubes? Not my pubes, he says. It's not going to be mine. Send them, do it. That they didn't find any pubes in the back seat of his car.
They didn't find any pubes, nor did they find any DNA. No forensic DNA or evidence at all.
So
You know, Janie and her family, what they had about an hour and a half to come up with this scheme.
I think it was her daughter
Okay.
that suggested. I think her daughter was pissed when she told the story about him making her do the clasp and shake, which he actually didn't direct her to do that. She did that on her own,
Right.
which would make you think she'd been pulled over before, but
Right.
but there's no record of it. Plenty of times since, but I don't know. I've always thought that it was her daughter because her daughter seemed to be pretty connected to the Black Lives Matter movement, which was pretty new at that time. It started on the heels of the Trayvon Martin shooting down in Florida.
When did that happen, Kay? Do you know?
I'm not exactly sure when it happened, but I think that wasn't George Zimmerman acquitted right before this happened? I'll have to look it up. We have a timeline that we can bring into the next show to tie that stuff together.
I just looked it up. He was acquitted in July of 2013. It happened in February 2012.
Yeah, on our timeline, we have a whole list of these sorts of actions of either white police officers on black citizens or white citizens, not necessarily white citizens, because I don't think Zimmerman white?
He was Mexican.
That's what I was thinking. But these atrocities on black citizens, I mean, and
when was Ferguson?
That was happening right before that happened, right before they arrested Daniel, like a couple days.
Okay.
And I think that's why they went ahead and got him into custody, because they were afraid. And Grace Franklin made some sort of comment that things were getting ready to get bad.
Yeah.
And I think, the brass could sense that they needed to show the community that they were taking this seriously, because frankly, they were not happy that he wasn't arrested yet, because this happens on June 18th and he's not arrested until I think it was the 24th of August. I might have that day wrong, but I think it was right there.
Yeah, it was right.
20-something.
22nd, I think.
So Michael Brown was shot on August 9th, 2014 in Ferguson.
There were 3 waves of riots in Ferguson.
Okay.
So there was a riot when he was shot. There was a riot when they didn't charge the officer. And then there was a riot on the 1-year anniversary of his shooting. So
hadn't Freddie Gray's death also occurred by then?
Man, I can't remember the timeline of all those.
Yeah,
I think the Baltimore was after Daniel's thing, I think in 2015, but he hadn't gone to trial yet. I mean, it was a crazy, crazy shitstorm of activity around the United States before, during, and after. I mean, the height of it and the start of the Me Too movement was all going on during his trial and beyond.
There's a question for you, Kay, in the private chat.
Okay.
I'm sure.
Let me see. What is my theory about why Rocky went so hard after Terry? I think in that meeting they were told that we're going to have to sacrifice Holtzclaw or the city might burn. I really think they were worried about what if there were a riot in Bricktown. Oklahoma City had spent decades trying to get Oklahoma City to be a place that that companies wanted to move to. And they'd been hijinks by things, you know, they've been doing this all the way back to the oil bust, and I can't think of the name of the bank that got overextended on loaning money to oil companies before the bust. That bank failed, and so that was a horrible downfall for Oklahoma City. Then they get these MAPS projects going and start to get some things built back up, and then the Oklahoma City bombing happens. And then, you know, they get going again. And I mean, Oklahoma City, downtown Oklahoma City is just amazing. And it was at the time of Daniel's arrest. They're not willing to sacrifice. It's a monetary thing, is what I think. And Terry was going to be the easiest person, I think, that they perceived to make him into a serial rapist, because he happened to be the last person that stopped her. You know,
So-
and they had use of force violations that he self-reported. And I don't think they wanted to answer to those in the media and become more of a national story than it was. I mean, they definitely didn't want the coverage that something like the George Floyd case got, or, you know, Ferguson or Trayvon Martin. Think of all of the different cases that were in the media forever and still are. That's the best thing I can come up with. It took me a long time to figure out what it could possibly be.
But what makes me curious, and maybe you want me to shut up, but like, you know, because where he was like saying, or do you think he concocted this after the fact, where he was searching, you know, I went here and I went there and blah, 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 all these places. That was before the big meeting.
The report says it was before the big meeting, but I don't believe it.
Okay, gotcha.
I think if we had access to an edit log from that software, we would see that the date got changed on that.
That would never happen.
Yeah, what would never happen is we would never get access to an edit log. Yeah. That's what would never happen. I know what you're saying, but there's some dirty dogs.
Had they already tied Daniel to Terry Morris because of the stop he made on her before Jannie Ligons?
Yes, they had looked at him and they were done with that.
Okay.
They were done with that. They don't bring
That's
Terry
something
Morris.
I learned today. I didn't know that.
They didn't bring Terry Morris back in for her second interview. So Daniel's arrested on 6/18. They bring her back in. Was it on 6/23, guys?
I believe it was the 23rd, yes, or 24th.
And, you know, doesn't want to be a part of it still. Or no, that's when they tracked her down. They don't bring her back in. They get Cal to locate her again. They have an officer hold her against her will in the back of his police car. She's banging her head on the cage. She wants to go. They hold her there and wait for Rocky Gregory and Hugaboom or Huggins or whatever his name is.
Higginbottom.
Thank you. To bring a photo lineup down to show her this photo lineup, which, you know, she can't positively identify anybody in the photo lineup. She ought to be able to pick Daniel out because he's not only arrested her before, like in 2013 or 12 or something. He's recently had contact with her on May 8th. You would think he would be a familiar face. He's not. I mean, he is someone that you would remember if you were standing beside him. He is a huge, I mean, he's an intimidating presence to stand beside him.
Yeah.
Okay. Anything else, guys?
I don't have anything. I think that's a pretty good introduction into how we got to Jannie Ligons and how her case evolves.
Yeah, so I'm not exactly sure. We haven't mapped this out where we'll go. I think there's probably still some wrap up to do on the Jannie Ligons investigation. And then we end up, I think, going into Terry Morris because they can't really move forward. I mean, I think Sherry Ellis comes along pretty quickly, but they really can't do anything. They for sure can't arrest him until they get Terry Morris to cooperate, which doesn't happen until July 10th, I think.
10th. Yeah, July 10th.
Yeah. Yep. So, I know what I wanted to say about that interrogation clip that we just watched. So what Gregory tells Daniel is, you know, she's claiming the same thing. You're logged out of your computer. He wasn't logged out. It wasn't a few weeks ago. He's talking about the May 8th traffic stop.
Yeah.
And it wasn't the exact same allegations either.
No.
I mean, that's another instance where they're just lying. So I don't know. With that.
Yeah. It's crazy.
But they can legally do that.
Yes.
Unfortunately.
That's true. Yeah, that's true. They can legally do that.
Under Reed, they can.
They can do it in an interrogation, but they shouldn't be continuing those lies
right
for years in court or wherever
under oath.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, Anthony D's birthday is on 6/18. Well, it's a better way to think about 6/18.
Yeah, I would much rather think of your birthday.
Yeah, for sure.
I was married to my first husband on June 18th, but anyway, that's beside.
Oh man, TJ, you got the tornado. One of our other supporters had her roof torn off. She lives down in Moore. During the last tornado.
Wow.
Sorry about that. That sucks.
Yeah, that's too bad. Well, TJ, just so you know, since several of us are making a trip to Oklahoma City this summer, I know you don't live right there anymore.
Yeah,
but
don't say the date.
I didn't say the date. Okay. I don't know the date. I can't even remember. I said sometime this summer. But we should I mean, if it's not too far away,
have coffee.
I think he's in Oklahoma City.
Did you take pictures of the crimes, the alleged crime scenes, TJ? that's what we're going to do. We're going to tour around Oklahoma City and look at all the various alleged crime scenes and do some video and
yeah, he says he took pictures.
yeah.
Cool.
So yeah, maybe we can just, meet somewhere to say hey
Yeah,
for just a few minutes if we're going to be all the way there.
that'd be cool.
So yeah. So yeah, there's definitely a lot to unpack with all of these accusers. Yeah. Well, I said alleged crime scenes. I don't believe any of them are true crime scenes, at least as far as Daniel's concerned. But so about yes, I just took pictures about an hour ago. Oh, cool. Well, we'll have to see if we can make some arrangement to meet at the local watering hole. Just kidding. I'm not much of a drinker anymore. But anyway, now I'm getting crazy.
We can have coffee.
Yeah.
Oh, meet for coffee. There you go. Coffee. We can have some coffee. That sounds like a really good idea. I would really like to have some. Kay's going to be our tour guide, so she's planning out the whole trip for us. I hope. But yeah, I don't know. We'll let you know when we get a chance to get there for sure. We'll let you know when it's going to be. We can say hey. Good steaks in Oklahoma City. Yeah, I've heard that. There should be lots of good food and good coffee and good friends, and it'll be a good time. So, the watering hole. I heard there's a place called the Watering Hole, isn't there? If I'm not mistaken. Seems like.
I think that was the name of the bar that the detectives or officers used to hang out.
Yeah.
Back in the day. I don't know that it exists anymore, but I could be wrong.
Oh, okay.
Oh, TJ says it's the name of a local bar. I'm almost positive that's what someone told me. I don't know.
I thought I had heard that somewhere, but I don't know. I could have. I've done a lot of researching in Oklahoma City, so I could. Who knows what I've seen and heard. So we'll try to keep you updated on that when the trip is going to be. I'm sure we'll do a live of some sort while we're there, all in the same room. It'll be really awesome. So we're really excited about it. If there's nothing, I just wanted to mention something. 2 other cases that I wanted to bring up, if it's okay, if we've kind of wrapped up Ligons for now.
Yeah, go ahead.
I wanted to bring up, we need to keep our eye on Richard Glossop's case. Kay, I don't know if there's been any more news since the proposed vacate by the AG.
I haven't heard anything, but the civil rights attorney that I spoke with about this said that he didn't, it's not a vacate and dismiss. So it's possible that he'll be tried again for that would be his 3rd trial.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I mean, the district attorney is Vicky Bahena, and I can't imagine that she doesn't know about the facts of innocence that support his innocence in this case, since she was the executive director for the Innocence Project before she became DA.
Right. Yeah, so we'll keep our eye on that. He is, I don't know if it's been stayed or not, but he is scheduled to be executed in May. I want to say May 8th, if somewhere around there.
I think
that's been stayed. Yeah.
Has it been stayed? Okay, yes. Good.
Yes.
Oh gosh, he's had so many stays, which, I mean, thank goodness, but the emotional toll it must take on somebody is just overwhelming for me to even think about. I can't even imagine.
Yeah.
Well, his case was dismissed, right?
No, it was
or his conviction. was
the AG
overturned or
asked for the conviction to be vacated.
Vacated.
But
Yeah.
like the civil rights attorney said, it was not a vacate and dismiss.
Right.
So it's left up in the air whether the DA will want to retry the case.
right, but his conviction has been thrown out, basically.
Well, I mean, a judge
and they can still retry him
I
or
mean,
let him go, right?
a judge will have to make that formal, I guess.
Okay, I thought that had been done.
No,
No,
as far as
not
I
that I
know,
know
there
of.
hasn't been a court date set yet.
Okay.
We should just look on OSCN and see
Yeah.
what's going on with that.
We can find it for sure. So at any rate, keep your eye on that because things are moving in Richard Glossop's case and hopefully for the best. And then I just wanted to kind of mention to folks who might not have, I don't want to say this and make it sound like everybody's just not intelligent enough to figure it out, because I don't mean that at all. But the whole Lori Vallow trial is now in full swing. There is no cameras or audio in the courtroom, but Nate Eaton at eastidahonews.com is what I follow. You can get it from Law and Crime and from Court TV, I think, as well. But he is live tweeting and doing live updates like constantly throughout the day at court.
Where are you watching it? I'm sorry.
I am watching Nate Eaton or eastidahonews.com.
Yeah, I really like him.
Yeah, Nate Eaton's he's been on this case since it ever first started, and he's got some really great. Anyway, the website that he has for it is pretty extensive with timeline and photos and what
You
I
can
didn't
actually listen to the trial.
Yeah, that's what I was
a
just
day
going to say.
late.
What I
Yeah.
didn't know is that after the day, at the end of the court day, in the evening, Nate Eaton puts the audio from the trial on the website, and you can listen to everything that takes place. So we're not hearing it in real time live, but we are getting the audio every day from the trial.
Oh
It's
my
not-
gosh. I
Yeah.
have been looking all over for the live feed and just making myself crazy. I had no idea.
Yeah,
It's not a live feed.
Yeah, it's not live, but you can watch it. Like he's probably getting ready to start releasing today's testimony anytime now, and you can get it on eastidahonews.com.
Nate was the one that he was up in a helicopter when they found
Yeah.
the kids.
When they,
That
it was so
a
heartbreaking.
terrible moment. Yeah.
I remember watching that live. It was really, I remember crying.
Hey, y'all, guess who was in court again today?
Who?
Daryl Brooks.
Oh, I saw that.
Oh, good God.
Did you see his head?
Representing himself?
No, he
he's
has
got
an attorney.
Yeah, he's got an attorney.
The judge muted him. She said, I don't think there's anything we need to hear from Mr. Brooks. So I'm going to go ahead and mute him. And if we need to hear from him,
I love that.
Yeah, it was
God,
pretty
I love
awesome.
that.
Yeah,
the same judge?
Same judge.
Yes, Daryl. Yep.
Wow.
Yeah, they were assessing how much, what's it called, restitution he owes. So I guess he's never going to have, I guess they're going to be taking any money that gets, whatever percentage of money that gets put on his canteen.
Yeah.
I can't remember what percentage they can take. They can't take it all.
Yeah, they can, yeah.
But they can take most of it.
It seems like it's like half of it at least or something.
Something like that. I can't remember, but yeah.
Anyway, he had the child molester glasses on.
Yeah. And he shaved his head like bald. Well, they might have done that too. I mean, Alex Murdaugh's hair was shaved the very day that he went to prison. So
I believe they do that when they first come in.
Yeah.
All of them. It's my understanding.
They say to deal with lice, but I think it's really just to let them show them that they're
Humiliate.
not in control of anything.
Yeah.
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 I mean, yeah.
So yeah, if I don't know if somebody wants to put the website eastidahonews.com, I guess I could do it just as easily as anybody else. So when you go to the website, to the right, well, they're promoting a ZZ Top concert right now, so that pops up first. But when you go to the right, there'll be a picture, and it's Daybell trial coverage. Just go to that, and then you can get to there from there. And
It's been some horrific testimony.
it's been heartbreaking.
Ugh.
Heartbreaking.
Wow. I love that the judge didn't let her out of the courtroom and made her sit in there and listen to all that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it was
As
pretty.
it should.
Thank you, Catnet. I appreciate that. Yeah, so yeah, you can hear it. You can hear it. You can read, and Nate Eaton does a really good job, and he's also tweeting, from the courtroom as well. But these updates that he does every 5 minutes or less, while he's sitting in the courtroom, are pretty detailed. And
when you're listening to the testimony, you can hear all the reporters typing.
yes, yeah,
It's really
Yep.
quite annoying.
yeah, and breathing. That's what bothers me the most is the breathing. I don't like I don't like to hear people breathing.
It makes me think of that John Mayer there in Colburn. He was the worst.
He was bad. Yeah, that was horrible. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's I know that there are several people who are interested in that trial, and while we don't get to listen to it in real time live, we do get to hear it several hours later. That Nate Eaton and others are putting it on their website. So it's really, really heartbreaking. Detective Harmacio is just gut wrenching. Brandon Boudreau was heart wrenching. I haven't listened yet, but Melanie Gibb. Nope, not Melanie Gibb. Melanie, is it Gibb? There's so many Melanies. There are so many Melanies in this case. I can't.
Melanie is her friend. She has Melanie Gibb as her friend, and then Melanie Boudreau Pulowski is her niece.
Right. But Melanie Gibb, I think, is the one who was on the stand today. And
I think so too.
Yeah, she really she had some interesting testimony. So if you're interested in that, go check out eastidahonews.com. Cherie and Kat have been putting some links in the chat for you because it's good to just, it's, again, not everything, not a live thing, but it's fine to hear it later too. It's all heartbreaking. So
I've also been following Letitia Stout trial.
I've been trying. She's a difficult one.
Yeah.
Let's see. Augie's 1956 says everything you're saying about this stop alone would have exonerated Daniel, but we know how this went wrong. Social pressure. Yeah, you're pretty much. I agree with that. So, and Augie, are you in Australia? It seems like I remember. I could be wrong. I feel like you said you were in Australia. But anyway, we've gone quite a while tonight, and that's good. We've had a lot of great information for you guys. And so we appreciate everyone for being here and hanging out with us and listening to the presentation. Any last comments from you guys on the panel, Susan?
No, I really appreciate today's presentation. I did learn some things. So
Okay, good.
yeah, there's so much to this case that, you never stop learning.
Yeah, that's right.
But thank you.
Thank you. Kay, how about you?
Oh, I think I've talked enough.
I Hey, none of us said you had a big mouth. Come on, don't be like that.
Yeah,
We were talking about.
nobody's saying that.
Whoever
talking about
said
big-
that was right.
We were talking about big bus before, and I got shot down. Like, shut the hell up! I ain't never heard about no big.
All I have to say is he said, "Ooh, you got a big ass."
Ooh, you
Yeah,
got a
you.
big ass.
Does this
Well, either
patrol car
that
make
or
my?
ooh, you got
Does
a
it?
big booty.
Does this
One of the
patrol car
two.
make my ass look big?
I think it was big ass, wasn't it? Because doesn't Doug
Yeah.
Johnson say that in her deposition? And
Yeah,
then-
well, she says that in trial, but in the police reports, it's big booty.
yeah. I mean, in the deposition, I remember him saying, and so then he says to you, "Ooh, you got a big ass."
It's pretty damn funny. Doug Johnson is
Oh my God,
Kathleen
he was
Saunders' partner.
entertaining in those
He really
depositions.
was. He was good. He was really
This-
good.
The other side kept taking a lot of breaks. He said, "Oh yeah, take another break. I'm used to it at this point. I feel like it's a vacation day. I brought a game."
I brought a game to play. Yeah. It'll be fun. It'll be fun when we can share some of that stuff because it's pretty interesting.
No snark there.
Yeah. Nope.
It was pretty funny. I mean, Kathleen Zollner gets a few digs in too with
Rick Smith.
they're getting sideways with the city attorney Rick Smith.
Yeah.
She tells him, well, no, just we'll have a call about this later. I don't want you to mess up my record.
Oh gosh. Yeah, she did say that too. That was funny.
Good. All right.
Excuse me. All right, Cherie, how about you?
Just it was interesting, and I'm glad that Kay came up with the idea to go at it from this angle. It's a good idea.
Yeah, it was good. I just put it in the chat, but I'm going to say it out loud too because she's in foul play and I typed it in mine. Behind the Magic said, "Does anyone else hear a resemblance of Ken Kratz's voice in the Vallow defense attorney? I don't know if I hear Ken Kratz, but he is pissing me off. He is. I don't object as long as it's what it purports to be. What
Is
the
this his
hell?
first case? Because he seems like I was listening yesterday when he was objecting to the photos that were coming in. So the judge says we'll take them one by one, and they go through them one by one. And doesn't he just object to like the first five? Oh, no objection, no objection, no objection, no objection, no objection. Oh, well, I object to that. I just don't know what it is.
I don't even know what that is. I've never seen this. Yeah,
Well,
he's,
both of those attorneys. Oh, sorry.
I think I hear Ken Kratz.
Both of those attorneys are death penalty qualified with a lot of experience. I haven't heard them in this yet, but
well, they will piss you off because I haven't heard Archibald really, but Thomas is just a dick. He's just a dickhole, and he's calling for all these objections, and then he turns them into speaking objections, and then he will voir dire. Like he'll make an objection and then he'll ask the judge, "Judge, can I voir dire the witness before I make my objection?" And I've never heard of that. I had never heard of that.
I haven't either.
I hadn't either.
It is bizarre to me.
They're past voir dire.
Huh?
They're past voir dire.
Well,
I mean, in the Murdoch trial, they sent the jury out to do that stuff.
Yeah. He will voir dire the witness, right? He'll ask the judge, voir dire judge, before I make my objection, can I voir dire the witness? And they do it, and I'm just like, what? And then he'll say, okay, I'm going to object to that, or okay, no objection. And I'm like, how does that work? That makes no sense to me. And I think voir dire just means it's just a generally questioning somebody.
Yeah.
So
I'd never heard of it until I went to Trial Academy, and it's a thing.
It is a thing. Well, I mean, obviously, but
yeah.
Oh yes. Okay. Yes. Oh, what a heat was. Yeah, Behind the Magic says he did that to the grandmother, identifying JJ's pictures. Yeah, just such a, and no empathy. He doesn't show any empathy or sympathy to any of these witnesses, the victims, and he's just a pig. I just don't like him. And he does have a really, maybe it is a Kratzy voice, but I hear Kratz with a more of a girly, blah, 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 blah. This guy's got a low whispering, and he's talking like whisper. Oh, he just annoys me. You'll have to check out this guy. He's really bad. So anyway, I just wanted to kind of let everyone know that that's available on several different platforms, but I recommend eastidahonews.com. Jack, what you got left to say? What else is there to say after you had all that big booty question going
Hey,
on?
Jack, take us out of episode 1.
Yeah. There you go.
Sorry, I had to step away for a second. You guys continue on.
Well, I think what we're going to do is we're going to wrap it up here. And I appreciate everyone on the panel. I appreciate all the hard work that Kay has put into this tonight. It was fabulous. And I didn't have to do very much, thank goodness, because I just do feel like doing anything. So it was really nice and helpful for me. Besides, so thank you to everybody in chat. All of your comments and questions have been fabulous, and we really do appreciate it. I hope everyone can leave some comments on the on your way out, or at some point. Let us know what you think or any questions you may have, and just keep on coming back for more information, and we'll do maybe some transcript reading. Like Kay said earlier, we'll talk about it and figure out what our approach is going to be. So with all of that said, until next time, we will see you next time. Peace out.